Welcome to the world of my certification level keeps rising, but all I do is laze around. 16-year-old Arya stands before the towering gates of the imperial capital. After 6 grueling months on the road, she looks every bit the seasoned warrior, carrying the rare and prestigious badge of a level 5 adventurer. But her focus is completely detached from the city ahead. Her fingers trace the heavy silver pendant resting against her chest, a physical anchor dragging her mind back to a memory she can't shake. Exactly 4 years ago, there was no elite adventurer. There was only a 12-year-old girl trapped in Oakhaven, a sealed-off village choking on ash, slowly rotting away under a localized curse. Inside a dark, metallic-smelling cabin, Arya's mother lay motionless on a cot. Her skin had turned a horrific necrotic gray, and her breathing was so shallow the blankets barely moved. She was entirely out of time. Long before Arya earned her fame, she was a completely powerless child, sitting in the dirt beside a dry well, waiting for the blighted earth to claim the last person she loved. Then, a stranger materialized from the dying forest. Wrapped in a dark cloak and trembling violently, he muttered something about her strong aura, dropped a heavy silver chain into the dust, and vanished back into the shadows. Arya reached out with bruised fingers. The moment her skin touched the metal, it radiated an intense heat. The crushing exhaustion in her bones instantly evaporated, and the sharp burn of the toxic ash cleared from her lungs like she had just inhaled crisp mountain air. Energized and desperate, she scrambled to her feet and sprinted for the rotting cabin, pressing the strange silver pendant directly against her dying mother's chest. For a terrifying second, absolutely nothing happened. Then the metal activated, emitting a soft, rhythmic pulse of silver light that sank straight through the blankets. The black veins spiderwebbing up her mother's neck rapidly dissolved. The sickly ashen gray was pushed back, replaced by a warm flush of healthy skin. Her mother snapped awake, her eyes wide with panic. The wet rattle in her chest was completely gone. Flexing her fingers, she realized the agonizing burning and the rot in her blood had entirely disappeared. In mere seconds, a brief contact with a completely unknown artifact had overwritten an incurable curse, pulling a dying woman back from the brink of death. But the magic wasn't finished. Once pulled away, the pendant began to react violently. The gentle pulse turned into a rapid, aggressive throb of raw mana, growing uncomfortably hot in her hand. Terrified by the crushing pressure of the artifact clashing with the cursed environment, Arya stumbled backward out of the cabin and into the dead wheat fields. The pendant burned against her palm until she couldn't hold it anymore. She cried out and dropped the blinding silver into the brittle gray soil. The exact moment it struck the earth, the world went dead silent, and a biting frost snapped through the summer air. A massive shockwave of pure, life-giving energy erupted from the pendant. The sheer force of the silver tidal wave knocked Arya backward into the dust. Where that shockwave passed, the curse was instantly annihilated. The dry, cracked ash of the fields aggressively churned, transforming in a matter of seconds into rich, dark, fertile earth. Green shoots violently punched through the dark topsoil, growing at miraculous speed. Within a dozen heartbeats, the barren expanse was swallowed by towering green wheat, replacing the stifling stench of decay with the heavy scent of fresh rain. This artifact held raw, godly power. It bypassed the individual entirely, ripping a localized regional curse out of the earth to instantly resurrect a dead ecosystem. All around them, the village of Oakhaven woke up from its nightmare. Neighbors who thought they would never see each other again pushed open their nailed-shut doors, limping out to weep openly in the newly blooming fields. As the village elder clawed his hands into the warm dirt, the brutal reality of the stranger's actions became clear. He had willingly performed an unimaginable act of self-sacrifice. This diagram illustrates the terrifying mechanics of the cleanse. To heal the earth, the cloaked man had directly siphoned the sprawling rot out of the land, forcefully compressing the entire toxic curse into his own mortal flesh. Arya remembered his violently shaking hands. A profound, heavy guilt washed over her as she realized a complete stranger had willingly condemned his own body to save people he had never even met. Then a sudden voice called her name. Standing at the field's edge was her mother, fully restored and on her own 2 feet. They ran to each other, collapsing into a desperate, tearful embrace in the middle of the soft soil. The man who made this possible asked for absolutely nothing. He demanded no worship, expected no payment, and simply disappeared, back into his solitary war against the shadows, leaving behind only his pendant. So exactly who was this mysterious savior? Why did he specifically target Arya's aura? And what incredible destiny lies ahead for a young girl who now wields a piece of his terrifying power? Uncover the mystery for yourself. Read the full adventure right now on WebNovel, because one impossible act of selfless sacrifice forged a helpless child into a driven hero, setting her on a lifelong quest for the truth.